About these three spheres. I want to do this first. I'm glad I caught this. We were talking about the unseen and revealing to people that there's something going on besides notes and rhythms. And I'm kind of preaching to the choir when I'm talking to people of faith about this, because they get that there is another dimension. But nonetheless, I want to share with you this quote. Sorry if I'm in your way there. Heard melodies are sweet. These are nice. But those unheard are sweeter. Therefore, these soft pipes play on, not to the sensual ear, but more endeared, pipe to the spirit, ditties of no tongue. William Cowper, you know that name from being the collaborator with John Newton on Amazing Grace, great English poet. John Newton, not a poet, and who knows who wrote what, but there is in souls a sympathy with sounds, and when the mind is pitched, the pitched being pricked by the sound. When the mind is pitched, the ear is pleased with melting airs or martial airs, or brisk or grave. Some chord in unison with what we hear is touched within us, and the heart replies. I love this quote. My daughter gave this quote to me when she graduated from college, having sung in my college choir, and I didn't know it, and I ended up setting it to music. It is technically non-sacred, and so it gives an opportunity to be sung when sacred music has had too much of the program. But it reminds me, some chord in unison with what we hear. All of us have a song in us. And my year, in fact, this year has been a year about singing. And I've been attracted to the Psalms that say, I will sing. My heart is steadfast, O God. I will sing, even with my soul. When I hear the psalmist write that text, I'm reminded that singing, the ability to sing, especially when you must be steadfast, is a great challenge. And if you can come to singing with your soul in the middle of challenge, then something amazing is happening in your life. And that's kind of been my year. My heart is steadfast, O God. I will sing. I will sing praises even with my soul. I wish your choirs understood that singing comes out of singing out of pain can be the most profoundly powerful healer. And learning to sing praises in the middle of that. Wow, that's just great stuff. Everybody has a song, don't they? Everybody has a song. And they're learning to bring it out. Well, I just want to start that. This is what we started with, these three spheres of creation. And we wanted our choirs to be involved in the creative process, not just the activity, but the idea. To be involved in that idea, and any way you can get involved in the idea is beneficial to you by the way, I'm a college choral director. I got to get my programs done just like you got to get your church service up. So I get it. You've got to get through notes and rhythms. And then we'll talk a little more about the impact in the next session. But the activity, and this might surprise you. I wanted to spend my time talking about this activity in maybe a little different way than you were expecting. The physical manifestation of the idea. What is the activity? The activity is the composer writing the notes on the page. And maybe there's another layer, and that's you taking the notes off the page and translating them into sound. That's our activity. That's it. Putting the imagination into the physical realm, making the notes into sound. I'm just shocked at how that is the picture of Christ, the physical representation of the idea being put into physical reality so we can get our hands on it and comprehend. By the way, I think you did get handouts this time that'll help you not have to write everything down, but the quiz isn't that tough, really. So, for Dorothy Sayers, who got me started on this idea, the activity was defined as putting the story, she's an author, putting the story on paper. And in music, this happens twice, as I just mentioned. The composer puts it on paper, but then you put it onto the canvas of sound. And so this is your activity. So while we're doing this activity, we want to keep our mind's eye back there on the idea, because the idea is going to fuel my choir when they're getting towards like, oh, we can't get this far. I need to find a way to get that idea to fuel their motivation to go to the next level, to keep trying. I do have a person in my choir who goes, I don't want to talk about, oh, we don't know these notes, I got to get that done. And I'm right there with them. But I find that there's great motivation if I can keep them going through the idea. Okay, so the alphabet, spelling, writing, grammar, and that's the stuff that you and I spend all of our time on. The spelling, the writing, the grammar, the commas, the trying to get all of this right. I tell my choir, the reason I'm trying to get this right is so people won't lose the message in the lack of clarity. I don't want my grammar of music to be so bad they can't figure out what it is I'm trying to say. So that's good motivation for them to try to get it right. But I want to talk specifically about movement today, and having my singers, well, let's put it this way, movement is another way of making the idea physical. And I think it's also a way of getting my singers to, maybe it's a way of composing. They compose the music when they move it. And they don't need any particular skill to do it. They don't need to know how to subdivide a quarter note or a dotted quarter note so that the eighth note goes in the right place. They don't need any of those skills. They're writing the music themselves with an unskilled approach. So movement's another way of writing music. How do I use movement? I use it for pulse, for articulation, especially articulation. This is absolutely where I probably use it the most. But any movement that is used for pulse as well. For tone, how would movement affect tone? Or mood, maybe those are related. Any musical element, I'm searching for a way to give my choir an opportunity to move it in. This is key in my rehearsals, and yes, in all of my rehearsals. Every age. By the way, older people are having a harder time with this than younger people. But I don't think that's because of, I think it's because of comfortability more than it is, I've never done this before. I think it's just, I feel weird. So, well, great. Welcome to choir. Where the weird get weirder. So movement is a part of my preparation for rehearsal. I'm looking for ways to get this articulation right. And I'll engage movement as part of my preparation. So in my score, in We Are Redeemed, you're going to see references to those things that I ask questions about, and you're going to see references to movement as well. And maybe I can demonstrate a little bit of that as we rehearse, although I'll be rehearsing like we got to do this anthem tomorrow, so I don't know. But you kind of have the idea. This is part of my preparation for rehearsal. I'm trying to put an image and a movement to help communicate what it is I'm after in this piece of music. Now, if you think about it, you do this all the time, constantly, as a conductor. But your choir doesn't get to. And so you're conducting and you're going, how can you not see that moment that I mean, we're leaning to that moment. Well, they're not leaning, you're leaning. And so you are dancing the music as a conductor. And this automatically seems to make sense to you in ways that it can't because they're doing this. And so what I'm suggesting is that out of your conducting, you begin to create ideas of what they do. In fact, my choir conducts, and this is just going to help with pulse, if nothing else. And it might also help them to learn that when in a 3/4 pattern, it looks like this, and that's why the downbeat makes sense. But my choir conducts. This is a little more with my students than my adults, but they'll conduct as well as I'll say, just everybody conduct 3 days. You're the conductor, we pay you. But that's a way to get them to move. With my college choir especially, if they haven't read a conducting gesture the way I wish they would have, I just ask them, what would you do if you wanted that to sweep into the downbeat and then carefully dissipate? How would you conduct it? And they all show off good. But my plan is that next time they'll watch me and actually do what I'm doing. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish in that. But they're standing in still as stumps, and you're passionately waving your arms and wondering why they're struggling. So let them wave their arms. I'm not going to talk about Dalcroze. I'm not going to talk about all of the studies that have been done about movement, but I do think that if this can start as kids, they have a great opportunity to develop musically. What you move, you can sing. So I think that's really, but this is not academic in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to talk about some ideas about movement and where they came from. So what I did was I just grabbed some snippets of music, and we're just going to sing them and just kind of play with some ideas. This is not rocket science, nor is it researched. It's just what snapped into my head at some point. Now, it's true, I have a toolbox of things that I use again and again and again, but I find that I've got to go back and review some other possibilities and get me thinking for my choir to react out of them. I mean, yeah. All right, so what I did is I just grabbed some music. It starts with some things that are maybe a little more, I haven't done this piece with my church choir. This is kind of a high school piece from Vivaldi. And I'm going to ask you to sing it for me, all right? Here we go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. Would you guys mind, if you can't read, can you just move up? Just move up here a little bit. It's the best I can do. Nobody's going to move our way. I don't even know. Yeah, you guys are, thank you, Catherine. I can call you by name and say, get up here. And then you're going to prime the pump and everybody's going to come sit on the front row. Wait, you moved up 2 rows. Wow. All right, well, good luck. We're going to read a lot of music. I hope you can read it. Want to try one more time? Ready, and go. Would you take out your bow and arrow? And shoot it on the second part. Ready? And pull. Here's my trusting in God, wonderful and His faithful. Yeah, I might have got. Well, this is a little bit hard to do, but would you? Yeah, that's it. Can you hear the hymn ever His faithful soul. Would you just conduct 3-4 over that instead? Just say it for me. Ever, go. Ever His faithful soul. Right, one more time. Ever His faithful soul. You can see why it breaks down a little bit because the word full is landing on that strong beat. His full. So it works for the first 2 beats. That was kind of interesting. I didn't like arrow because I wanted it. Did you see what I just said? Did you see what I said? I wanted it. Okay, so grab your sister's swing. Come on, everybody. We better stand. Everybody, grab your swing and let her go. Go. Here's my trusting in God, and His faithful soul. Did you conduct that again? Okay, so now I can ask my choir, crescendo the first measure. Why didn't I just do that? Ready? And crescendo. Now, I keep saying faithful, don't I? It's not faithful, it's steadfast. Swings, go. Did you hear the difference? What was it? There's a marked difference. One is not right and one's wrong, but there's something about what you decide, and you say, no, that's what I'm after. Yeah, there's something completely different. Okay, I hate to ask you guys just to keep standing, but we'll just keep standing. Let's sing that. Praise to the Lord. 1, 2, sing. Praise to the Lord. But just dial in the syllable like that, whichever way you want to do it. 1, 2, sing. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Oh, my soul, praise Him, for He is my salvation. Very interesting. Would you fishtail those words? 1, 2, 3, ready, fishtail. Praise to the Lord. Why you don't do this the way I conduct. So, yeah. Well, I like the fishtail, but I don't, you're better musicians, but when I put this in front of amateurs, it's going to turn in a little bit to this kind of sound. You get that out of your groove? You know, it's good. Come teach me. Praise the Lord God. That's what I call squid singing. And I don't know why, but when I tell them I can't understand them, then they really squid sing. I said, I can't understand a word you're singing because I got them all in these vowels and always through it. Because I can't understand you. He says, fine, we'll help you. And they sing for me. Oh, worship the King of glorious above. I said, now I understand you. And I don't want to. So, I I like the fishtail because it connects, but I like this. I call this vowel snap because once you've landed on a vowel, you can't alter it. It's kind of forcing you to land on a vowel. I wish I hadn't chosen that vowel. You know what I'm saying? So, praise to the Lord. Is that really the vowel you want? And when you hand stand, for some reason it locks your vowel in place. Mighty the King of. Wish I wasn't singing all these ones. And I'll actually have where it frees those vowels and see, is that really what you want to sing? And snap. I use vowel snap a lot because it tells a big story, especially with amplification. Try one more time. Praise. Be ready to freeze and stop on that word. 1, 2, 3. Praise to the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Oh, my soul, praise Him, for He is my God. Freeze! Right, and there we are on that. And you know that's going to be one of those vowels, right? See, because you're going to have a couple of those on. And you're looking at them, and the vowels going to be like Peanuts characters out here, right? You say, okay, what does that look like? To be honest with you, for this piece, I kind of like both. I can't. There we go. Yeah. Praise the Lord, the Almighty. See if I can get them to do both. Try it. How are you going to do that? 1, 2. Praise the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Get to full vowels and connection, but that's just one way to get to it. Now, I'm going to do one more thing to you that has nothing to do with movement, but it's been a really revealing thing with my church choir. Do you know that, be seated. Do you know that poker game that you put one card on your head and you wager against everybody else's card, and you can see every card that's out there except for one? Do you know that? That's what I think vowels are. I mean, I can look at you and sing, and I'm doing this with my church choir. He is thy health and soul, and then I've got, and I've got, and I've got, and I've got, those cannot match. It's not going to be possible. It sounds like 3 different pitches, even though they're singing in tune. So I'm saying, I'd really like to do the same vowel. And I'll turn to it and I'll say, let's make that. And vowels have 1,000 different shapings, of course. And so I'm wanting them to imitate me. But I learned something that they think they can see my vowel and imitate it, and a lot of times they can't. You know, so what do? Hand out mirrors to everybody? There's an idea. Or ask the person next to them to be their mirror. And so I've trained my choir to play poker when we get to certain vowels. I say, poker. And here's what they do, with the idea that they can see their card and the other person can, or they can see the other person's card. They turn, they put on their poker visor and drop it over their eyes. So that, and the reason I've added a visor is because when they turn and look at each other, they all just laugh, and then the vowel doesn't happen, right? So they drop the visor over their eyes, and they turn and they look at the mouth shape of the person next to them. Just the mouth shape. And so you kind of get that idea. I'll have you do this in a minute. But just look now, does the mouth shape tell anything? No, that's only half the story. But I'm sure that when somebody's going, as I said, opera, and I'm now deigning to sing in your choir, and they're sitting right next to Matilda, this guy, how, what can I do to bring this together? So this is one of the ways. All right, guys, everybody stand. Everybody stand. Find a partner. Don't look at him yet, just decide who's who. You better introduce yourself because this is very personal. You're gonna get very comfortable here. All right, now say, Sing, and when I say poker, you're all going to, maybe I better come up with a better term than this. I don't know. Yeah, all right. And everybody's going to turn, and well, just try it right now. Just put your visor over your drop your hand down so you can't see their eyes, and they can't see your eyes. You can just see their mouth. You can't see their eyes. Come on. No laughing. Stop that laughing. All right, let's sing. 1, 2, go. Praise the Lord, the Almighty, the King of creation. Poker! Hold that bell. Sing, 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 sing. Sing, 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 sing. You know, that's just an ah vowel. How many variants did you get? Now talk to your partner about what you saw, and did you think it was the same as yours? Okay. Now, I might say I want that to be a very bright, this is what I call a triangle vowel, cheekier vowel, Sean, Sean. I might say I want that to be a very bright, kind of teethy, cheeky vowel, very resonant. Or I might say, I'd like that more AW. Oh, oh. It just depends on what the context is. Shadings of ah are thousands. And I start with this process even with my church choir. Now, ultimately, I want them playing poker with their ears, not their eyes. And they're starting to go, she's singing, and they'll ask, she's singing Sean, and I'm singing Sean. Which of us is correct? Neither. Okay, so but this process gets them hearing and thinking in a new way. I think it's a fabulous exercise for my group. Okay, be seated. This is a little, this is from a Handel anthem that I did with a high school choir just a couple of weeks ago. That's why I pulled it out. I wouldn't do this with my church group. So that's SAATBB. Grab a partner, let's sing. 1 and 2 and sing. So these are pretty high-level singers, and they'll sing so crisp. And of course, the cathedral sings for them, right? They don't have to sustain them, right? You can burp in these places, and it sounds good. And so it's just, but the diction that they work for because of that is really remarkable. I was really struck by the word Alleluia, very often clipped for syllable. Right to the L. Now, I don't know about you, but I was trained that you never do that. And so here I am in this all-state choir, and I said, I'd like this to be Alleluia. And I was trying to get them to clip the L. You get slapped for that. You know? And so I knew that this was going to be, I just said, go ahead and release the L. And I demonstrated it. I did this 3 times, and they could not bring themselves to do that. And so I said, I don't know where this came from, but I just said, okay, take out a pizza dough. Come on, take out a pizza dough and just take a little snippet off. Throw that away, get another one. And now, get 2. There you go. And now, put it on the pan. Oh, it's kind of rubbery, that dough is. And make that sound. Alleluia. Alleluia. And do you see what it did with the last syllable? Right? Right. Alleluia. How many times do you sing Alleluia in your life? And you know that Lu is the accented syllable. And it's also the smallest vowel. That's why it's just impossible to get this word worked out, seemingly. I mean, it's always Alleluia. Very often. Or at least it's Alleluia. Right? So, Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. Did you find yourself closing that L? And that's against the law, and yet you're able to do it just by the, I don't know why Pete said that, it just came into my head, so I just did it. Everybody sing. Amen, amen, Alleluia, Alleluia. 1 and 2 and 3. Amen, amen, Alleluia, Alleluia, Amen. That's fantastic articulation. And now, I took a little bit of time to do that with you, but it will never be forgotten. And if I ask my choir, accent, accent, ya has the de-stressed syllable on it, tenuto on lu, or demonstrate, but when they moved it, man, they just nailed it. Love, those take when they teach you. Let's sing this, ladies. There's 4-part ladies, 4-part men. I don't know about your church choir, but all the church doing this all the time.
Is this for the second session?
Yes, they're both for the second.
All. Really push that. All. Sing it and one. Softer on the top note. And push pull. Ready and go. Yeah. Really have to. And this shape also gives me a little dome, especially for my sopranos, to sing in, so they're not having to really drive that sound. Oh, just floating a little bit. One more time, push pull. Ready and go. Push. Right. Beautiful, beautiful. I think the reason this melody is so beautiful to me is because the word sick is at its pinnacle. And if I make that the pinnacle of the phrase, it sounds sick. And so I asked my choir, and Dan even writes it in the dynamics. You can see he's starting to get softer before the highest note. Secondly, the word is on the second beat of the nation. Thirdly, it's the unaccented syllable, but still. And now I'm talking about not my church choir, I'm talking about my college choir who sang this at our last Christmas program. And when I gave it to them, they kind of poo-pooed it. They kind of rolled their eyes like, we're doing really pretty music here. Pretty, for some reason, is bad. So they're kind of like, this is kind of, and I'm telling you, they were wiping their eyes before it was all done. It was unbelievable. But I think this melody is so beautiful. There is faint news. And I told them, oh, did you see what I just did? I told them, I want sick to be softer and maybe a little shaded towards an E vowel so it doesn't have that ugly sound in it. E, just a little. So I told them, but did you see what I did? I said, no, I didn't. You. And as soon as I did that, I saw the image in my head of this dolphin leaping on the downbeat and then taking the whole rest of the measure to re-enter smoothly back into the water. Try it for me, would you? Dolphin your way to the downbeat and then just soar into the water on night. 3 and 4 and 1. Guess and an image. Noel, yeah. I gave you the TTB version. I should have given you the SATB version. All right, we'll grab a note. Take the last note here and, as the pickup into L. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Noel. couldn't get this soaring and then this diaphragmatic release. And I did a couple things. I had them poke their belly buttons. I didn't know. But I had just returned from Colorado, and I said, no, it's like, and there it was. I was fly fishing. I have no idea where that came from. But go ahead and let that sail, and then hook right on the release. Everybody? Ready? And go. Nowhere! Yes, yeah, that works great. And so I got that sort of slapped cut off that really seemed to work. Walk together, children, good luck. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Walk together, children, don't get weary. Walk together, children, don't get weary. Walk together, children, don't get weary. I'm gonna have to stand for this one. Put yourself on a trampoline, and everybody just say, go, go. Walk together, children, go. So it just kind of digs in a little bit. Yeah, good for you. Hey, do you remember that pizza though that you had? Go ahead, put a big blob on it and go, weird, weird. Yeah, weird. It's counterintuitive because you see 2 eighth notes at the end and you're going to tag both of those. And if you're a good musician, you're going to get that last one in there. Weird, weird. Second syllable is almost inaudible. Everybody trampoline, put your hands out. You're going to walk out from it and then go up. Ready and go. Walk together, children, go together. Walk together, children, go. There's a break, because I want it shorter. There's a break. I don't have, I'm just searching. Did you see me conduct? You could just, what? Yeah, that's, grab me in the promise. That's good. Just shorten up break. Great camp, no T. Great camp meeting in the promised land. Right? Oh, that's good. So with my church choir on this kind of walking out on it, then don't you get weird, weightless. I don't know about you, but it's hardest for them to sing weightless. You know, those unweighted things that are just, and they were saying, it was scary, right? Good job. Let's keep moving. I'm just having some fun. Be seated. This is how good. Can I make a plug for a young composer that's writing stuff? You can find some of his stuff on Walton. This one is on Walton, and he's about to jump over into self-publishing. His name is Michael Engelhardt, and if you're looking for something accessible that has a gospel feel to it, or things that are kind of odd, he's into these early music with dubstep backgrounds. Very interesting. I love this guy, and he's writing a piece for me to do with the Minnesota All-State called "I Will Sing." You heard me talk about singing earlier. I mean, I feel like it's just written for me, and it's gospel. This was really written for the Alabama All-State Junior High Choir, which my wife did, and so he wrote it for Beth. And it's very accessible. My church choir has done it. And also, it was requested that Beth had already chosen a certain number of sacred pieces for the All-State, so they suggested that she's out of the room for more sacred music. And this filled the bill. It's clearly, those of us that know where the text is from, how good and pleasant it is when brethren dwell in unity. He wrote, when we how good and pleasant it is when we dwell together in unity. And that's kind of the theme of it. So, anyway. Well, here's how it goes. From the top. So, would you just dip some icing? When we are, is when, just little curlicues of icing. Is when, now shake it off. We, is when we draw together. Sing it for me. 1, 2, how good and pleasant it is when we draw together in unity. How good, sing that, pleasant it is, together in unity. I was looking for a way to get a little bit more substance that. Oh, I gotta move quickly. I was going to have you create this one. Listen. Ready and go. Stand up, get ready, run to the trampoline, and go. I don't know, whatever jumps in your mind. Stand up and see what you come up with. Struck half notes, accented half notes, scampering 8 notes, and a down away on the last phrase, or last 2 notes. 2 and 3 and go. Push, pull. Now wait a minute, my car is holding music. So use the music somewhere. Scamper across the music. Bow. Ever say bowing? Bowing. Lows. Right? Possibility. Okay, I've got to jump forward. Be seated. Okay, snapping cutoffs. Standard in my choir. Especially if it's an end of the beat cutoff. I'm trying to get them, it takes one hand, and they're just snapping wherever the beats go, so they all line things up. Touching the music. Any of these things, the physicalized, we do this all the time, helping them to do it. Crescendi and decrescendi, show them their music. I ask them to body lean. Shape the music with your body. I very often put my college bar in a circle and I say, shape the music. They're learning music. I say, shape it with your physical music. And then they're seeing other people going like this, and they're going, oh, I'm not doing anything. Maybe I should go somewhere. And if you're a person that sings like this, you're
you're dead, right? So they're shaping, and they see somebody else shaping, and go, oh, good idea. And some of it, then I can help formulate. Movement that complements the idea. I mean, I have yet to find a piece about pizza, but I got it so the movement actually works with the idea. The idea works with the text. This isn't a sacred piece, but it's sung a lot in younger grades. And I thought it was a great example of what I'm talking about. Let's sing. This is Away from the World Sea. Sing, small cry, a harbor that's still and serene. Give no indication what their ways have been. They walk out their mornings all nestled in dreams, away from the roll of the sea. Yeah, this is one of those where I say, what is this about? And this hopefully says this, it's not about boats. Small craft in a harbor, lying still and serene. And the song goes on to say they could tell stories of where they've been. But now they're anchored away and slumber a lead. It's a great picture. It's a great picture. So I was working with a group of girls, this is junior high girls, and I said, could you sing the top note softer? Because you can see the least important word is on the top note. Do you see it? Small craft in, and that's the way they sang it. In fact, you guys help me sing it the way they sing it. Top note is the most important. Ready and go. Small craft in a harbor that's answering. Wait, it's just, and that's, go on YouTube and listen to them sing, because you're going to hear that 69 times on YouTube with this piece. And I said, sing the top note softer, and they couldn't. And that's where all the beauty is in the piece. And so I said, no, ladies, it's like the waves lapping up against the side of those boats in the harbor. Everybody. And then what's right out there at the end, after they've splashed, a little drop, and then back. Little drop. Taper to nothing. Two, ready, and sing. Small craft in a harbor that's still and serene. Give no indication what their ways have been. They walk out their ways and if you're aware, I do a lot of circles, obviously these are the best ways to get people moving. But if you're aware, in 3/4, 1 is the strongest, 2 is the weakest, and 3 leans back into 4. So it's not 1, 1, that's a polka, it's a waltz. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. And those circles just created something. And suddenly they sang for the first time. They heard this beautiful melody that I had told them exactly what to do, but they heard it because they moved it. Well, other ways of getting at things, combine questions and movement. We play xylophones, we play bells, we play violins. Separate bows on that phrase, same bow on that phrase. This speaks a lot. And altos, cellos there, please, not violas, cellos right there in that part. What's that? Oh, well, that's a fanfare, you said? Then play it, sing it like brass. Trumpets, horns. Trumpets versus horns. And it's amazing the difference in color they'll give you. And I could say, okay, a little more elevation in the space there, and bring the rest of the surface over, pull the rest of the church. I can do all of that. Or I can give them this imagery. And then they'll play. And this changes the tone. These are the things that I'm trying to do with them constantly on both levels. Well, play an instrument that strikes a tone. I guess that's it. I've handed out a movement table, and it's been, I've been assembling this over the last couple of years with a couple of help from friends. Some of these are mine, some of them are theirs. And most of these are doable by a single hand, meaning you've got a handful of music, or you incorporate it into the music. Again, I would say if you're looking for particular things that you want to use for particular ideas, these are categorized for you so you kind of have some ideas about what might work. But I think the best thing is to take it right out of your conducting and do something with conducting and then try to figure out what that looks like. This is part of reverberation. Can I challenge you to just try a couple of those, and then you'll begin to build the vocabulary? Because again, you don't want your rehearsal to break down while we're all trying to figure out what an ice skater looks like. Ice skating is great because you strike and then glide. You strike and glide, and what that does to the sound is fantastic. So a lot of these ideas. I look forward to any conversation we can have about this. Thank you so much for your attention.